everybody. Today we are going to be making Jesus Ascension Cups. I don't really know what they're called, but I'm calling them Jesus Ascension Cups. So this is a craft to tell the story about how Jesus ascended into heaven to be with his Father. Okay, so by the end of it we will have a cup that looks like the sky with clouds on and a Jesus hanging from a piece of string, and you can ascend him into heaven. How cool is that? So keep watching if you want to find out how to make it. To make this craft you will need a plastic cup, a pair of scissors, a pencil, something to poke a hole with like a screwdriver, some PVA glue, some string, a hole punch, some coloured pens, some cotton wool balls, a blue piece of card and a white piece of paper. I'm going to put the camera down here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be slouching, but just ignore that. So first, we're going to make the sky that Jesus ascends into. So for that, you'll need your plastic cup, and this is where Jesus is going to ascend inside. But this doesn't look like the sky, so we're going to make it look like the sky. So we need a piece of our blue card. You can also use blue paper as well. And this can be a little bit tricky. So what you need to do is line your the rim of your cup against the edge of the blue card, like that, okay, and then wrap it all the way around. It won't like to bend. Card doesn't always fold very easily, but it's okay. So wrap it all the way around, like so, okay. And work out where the two ends meet. So my ends meet there. So I'm gonna just hold my finger there, let go, okay, and where I've held my finger, I'm gonna cut. So I'm just gonna cut a line where I've held my finger. Okay, cut a little notch. I'm gonna cut a bigger line. Okay, so that is how we know that is how long a piece of card needs to be. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my cup again against that line. Okay, and with my pencil, this can be a bit tricky, with my pencil I'm just going to make a mark where the end of the cup is. Okay, and I'm going to do the same halfway along. And at the end as well of the card. Take a ruler and draw from where the cut is, you draw a line to meet up with the notch, or with the mark of pencil to cyanate. Like that, okay. So I've drawn a line, and then I'm going to connect these 3 dots all the way along and draw a line, and then I'm going to cut out the rectangle. So what I'm going to do now that I've cut out my blue piece of sky, I've cut some notches in the top because the bottom of my cup is thinner and smaller than the top, so that will help it fold round. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my PVA glue, my runny glue, and I'm going to stick it down. Okay, so I'm going to stick my sky all around my cup, and I'll come back when I have my cup looking like the colour of the sky. Okay, now I found that mine won't stick very well at the top because it's too thin, so I'm just going to leave it unstuck at the top, but if yours sticks better at the top then you can do that. And I have got a hairband or an elastic band or whatever you want to use stuck around the bottom of mine to hold it all together while it dries. Okay, so that at the moment is my sky cup. Whilst that's drying, I am going to draw my Jesus, because Jesus needs to ascend into the sky. So to make sure that my Jesus will fit inside my cup, I took my ruler and I measured how high the cup is and how wide the cup is. Okay, so you might need a mummy or daddy to help you with that. but that can be very simple, okay? So I worked out that mine is 7.5 centimetres wide and 8 centimetres tall. So I'm going to make my Jesus a little bit smaller than that, so he definitely fits in. So I'm going to make him 7 centimetres tall and 6 centimetres wide. So to make sure that I don't draw him too big, I'm just going to draw a little rectangle on my paper, just on my white paper, and I'm going to cut out my rectangle that is 7 centimetres long and 6 centimetres wide to make sure that I don't draw him too big, and then I'm going to draw him inside that rectangle and then cut him out. Okay, so I'm going to cut out this rectangle and then I'm going to draw a Jesus inside. So this is my little rectangle and it fits inside my cup pretty well, okay? So I'm now going to draw my Jesus. I'm not a very good drawer, but that's okay. I want to see who can draw the best Jesus to go inside the cup, okay? And then you can send us pictures once you're finished and we can decide which one is the best Jesus. Okay, so I have drawn my little Jesus and I've cut him out. He's definitely not the best Jesus ever drawn, but he'll do, okay? And he definitely fits inside my cup, which is good. So now that I've cut him out, I'll just cut him out roughly because I don't want him to be too fiddly. I'm going to take a hole punch, and this might seem a bit cruel, but I'm just going to take a hole punch and I'm just going to punch a hole in his head, okay? So now, sadly, my Jesus has lost an eye because I didn't draw him big enough. But you have to make sure when you cut the hole that there's paper all the way around the outside of the hole so that we can run some string through him and pull him up through the sky, okay? So don't worry that mine's lost an eye. Make sure yours doesn't lose an eye, okay? But I'm really not very good at drawing, so to be honest, he's kind of improved by that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is hopefully your cup will have dried by now or will be close to drying. I'm just going to take my hairband off, okay? And it looks pretty sturdy to me. I think it's pretty much dry, so we're going to move on. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that to the side. Now we're going to make the clouds for the sky, okay? So to make the clouds, you need some cotton wool balls. And cotton wool balls unravel like this, which is pretty cool. So that is what a cotton wool ball is. It's just a long strip of cotton wool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break it up like this and then stick it on with my glue. I can stick it on all the way around to make clouds, okay? So I'm just going to take my PVA glue. I've put it in a little plastic pot and I'm using a brush. My PVA glue is very gloopy though. I watered it down a little bit, but I don't think that helped. So I'm just going to stick it on like that, okay? So I'm going to do a few. So now that I've stuck my clouds on, I'm going to take my poking implement, my screwdriver, and I'm going to poke a hole. Oh, you can see me. Hi. Poke a hole in the bottom of a plastic cup, okay? And you might need to be careful with this. You might need an adult to help you because this can be quite tricky. So I've poked a hole in my cup. And now I'm going to take my string, okay? And I'm going to cut out a piece. I just dropped my Jesus. I'm going to cut out a piece that is the length of the cup times 2, okay? So that's 1, that's 2, and then I'm going to do a little bit extra so I can tie my knots, okay? So cut out your string like so, okay? And then the first job you need to do is you need to very carefully, this can be quite tricky, feed it through the little hole that you made in your cup. Oh, my hole isn't big enough. If your hole's not big enough, just use a pair of scissors to make it a bit bigger if you haven't already used the scissors to make the hole. There we go. So I used my scissors and I've made my hole bigger. And I'm going to put my string through the hole at the top, like so. Come on. There we go, it started to go through, so I'm going to use my fingers on the other side to pull it through. Like that, okay? And then I'm going to tie a knot in the top end. So just tie a knot, just a normal knot, that doesn't need to be fancy, okay? It just needs to be bigger than the hole. that is. See my knot there? So when I pull my string through, it stopped at the top. And then I'm going to take my string at the other end, which got a little bit frayed in the process. Okay, my string at the other end, I'm going to tie to my little Jesus. I've tied a knot on my little Jesus' head like that, and then I'm going to cut off the excess like so. Dokey, and just pull it again to make sure it is properly tied. And then look, my Jesus hangs from my clouds, and then he can be ascended into heaven, or he can come back down. Where is he? Okay, so he can ascend and descend. So well done, everybody. We have made our very own Jesus Ascension cups. I hope you really enjoyed making your Jesus Ascension cups, okay? And I really, really look forward to seeing your tries. I really can't wait to see how you do it and to see which ones you come up with. I want to see if anybody uses a different shade of blue for the sky. You could paint the sky. You don't have to stick the sky. You could paint the sky. I want to see everybody's Jesus pictures. I want to make sure that they look better than mine, because mine's not very good, is it? He's got very long arms. Okay. I want to make sure that everybody can ascend into heaven. Oh, where's he gone? Where's he gone? And descending back to earth. Okay. So well done, everybody, and I'll see you soon.